Hello everybody, this is Colornami, and this will be part 1 of my series on coloring comics, that is. And the first part is flatting. Basically, what flats are the base colors. Like, they don't have to be the exact color. For example, this is the base colors, but in the finished version, her hair ends up being pink, and well, everything changes really. So what flatting is a way for colorists to just grab this an area, and use it in their shading layer or whatever. So they can go in here and change everything. So what I mean to do in this tutorial is to teach you how to flat, because a lot of times I find colorists having a problem with their flatter because they don't do it correctly. A lot of times the edges are soft, which they should not be. And I will teach you guys how to do that today. So basically, I'm going to start out over here in a new file. And if you use the pencil tool, it's not anti-aliasing at all. So if I get two different colors and I put them, then I use my wand and select, you zoom in, and it grabs the exact, like, by the pixel. But of course, the most important thing about flatting is that your tools are set up right. So you get your lasso tool, and mine's on anti-aliasing right now. Make sure that is unchecked, because when it's anti-aliased, so I get two selections, or two colors again, and another one over here. You'll see that the edges kind of merge together. They kind of blend. So when I go in with my wand, it doesn't get exactly, it's like by 1 pixel it messes up, and that makes the biggest of differences for colorists. So when you don't use anti-aliasing, just check that off, get a different selection again. It selects, and it selects right. So as a colorist, if you're wanting to be a colorist, you'll want to check this part out too. For your wand, make sure you have anti-aliasing, contiguous, and sample all layers off, and tolerance all the way to 0. Then for your lasso tool, it's just no anti-aliasing. And if you're too lazy, I shouldn't word it like that, but if you don't want to fix things up with the lasso tool, do not use the brush, because the brush is the same as anti-aliasing, and colorists do not want that. If you do that, you will not be hired again. So if you use the pencil tool, it's just really pixely, and that's how it's supposed to be. So getting to the main part of this tutorial. So when we go into a panel, this is a panel from Koi no Katachi. It's a Japanese novel manga series. The first thing you do is you make a background copy, and you set it to multiply, so the lines don't interfere with the colors. And then you put your colors underneath, and you call it flats. Note that we'll all be doing this on one layer. So also, another important thing is you make your bucket tool, make it tolerance to 0, anti-aliasing is off, everything unchecked, and just fill the panel. This is probably the best way, in my opinion, to flat. So I'm gonna start selecting the whole entire area of his head, or of his body. So I'm gonna select my lasso tool, unchecked anti-aliasing, and I'm just gonna go around. And important, or not important, but a helpful trick is that once you have a selection, you can add to it by holding shift and dragging again. And then coming back. I usually rotate, so it's easier to use my hand position. And just go around again. You can deselect using Alt and then dragging with your lasso. It's a pretty nifty trick that I've learned. And I messed up there, so I'm gonna deselect. Make sure that you do not mess up as a flatter, because like just double check, because if you mess up, you're probably not gonna get hired again. Because a lot of times, if colorists have to go in and spend more than 5 minutes fixing what you do, then it basically defeats the purpose. It's a lot easier to do this if you have a tablet, by the way. So if you don't have a tablet, it's a bit more time consuming. Since you can't freehand everything, you have to just use the polygonal lasso tool. So if you're using a mouse and you want to flat for people, use a polygonal lasso. And that's also Alt on the keyboard. Or if you're wanting to add to a selection, you would do Alt, and you'd click and then hold down Alt 2. Do like Shift, click, Alt, and you can go around. I mean, I even use the polygonal a lot. So after it's all selected, you pick a different color just to differentiate this area, like green. And we're gonna go back, see if we missed any places, and it seems we didn't, so good for us. And now you're gonna separate it from the hair too. This is probably like the skin. The skin is annoying. Alright guys, now here you'll see that the green surrounded, you can just go around. You do not have to worry about staying inside that selection because it's already selected. Alright, so now that it is all selected, you use your color picker and pick something different from that. That's too similar to the background, like purple. And now you will, I like to start with the eyes and the mouth. I color the white of the parts the same color, because they tend to be the same color. Just go around the hair a little. And then just select the whole entire area since it's already selected. Since you already selected the skin, so you don't have to worry. And I'll pick a slight blue. It really, the matters at this point, or the colors at this point, really do not matter. So, let's go to the pupils, probably make them magenta or something. Color picker, and running out of colors here. Yellow. The yellow's perfect. And now, since green is already on the hair, we don't really have to worry about that. We'll just change the color of the shirt. So just go around here, and shirt turns into crimson, right? Now for the text bubble, you can either ignore it or whatever. I'll delete the parts coming over it. You know what? Actually, for this part, you can turn off your flats, go to this, and use the wand. Just yeah, contiguous sample all here. Turn tolerance to 32 if you're gonna do this, and you'll see that it gets the edges. Expand by 1 pixel, I think. Just make sure it gets everything. Seems to. So get your pencil tool and go to your flats. Pick a different color maybe. Like white actually. And some areas weren't selected, so you can just go around it like that. So now, you'll see, if I want to go in here and pick the skin, it picks it perfectly, and there's no problem. Now say I made a mistake, and I messed up the edges right here. Yeah, I messed up the edges right here. So it's like right like that. You can go with your lasso tool and just fix it up like that. Get your color and put it back. Or if you're too lazy or you just feel like this is a better way, you can use your pencil tool and fill it in. Just like you would with the brush or whatever. I know a lot of people, they go in and use a brush like that. So, well, that's that. Actually, this is a good example. For a small area like this, I would say it fits a lot better. So, I'm going to turn off my that, and you can just go around the selection like this. Get the areas where the skin would actually be. Actually, I think this is actually that. So you go back, and it's perfectly fine. So that's an example of how you can use the pencil tool. Another important thing that I would say to you guys is don't leave white space. For example, I'll just create a new layer. Delete that. Don't color it like this. Don't go boom and then say, oh yeah, that's fine. Get blue for the background and do this. Because if you turn off the lines, you'll see there's white space. White space is not good because when you select it, the main reason is because it just looks messy to a colorist's eyes, and secondly, if it goes to print, if the comic goes to print, then that will, like, if the lines are offset by just a little, like, how can I move it? Like that. You see there's a gray here. And when it prints, it comes out white, and it doesn't look, it looks messy. So, that's that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial.